What is up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of Learning Urien, where this week we're going to be talking about defensive options on Knockdown, which means we're going to talk about what Urien can do when he's on Knockdown. And this episode has been very hard for me to record for multiple reasons. One of them is I couldn't really find a good way to do it. So, just a fair warning here in the start, this episode is going to be a lot of talking. It's not going to be a lot of like showing here in the background, like what is going on. I'm going to do it as much as possible when I can, but here in the start it's going to be a lot of talk because I want you guys to get a right idea of how you are supposed to think in this situation, because when you are knocked down you are at a disadvantage. It is when you did something wrong and the other guy gets rewarded for it. So first of all, I want you to think what brought you into this situation. This is something I've been talked about before and it's important. You have to think about what brought you into this situation and how can you not get in this situation again where you are knocked down. And that's just the way it is. The second thing is, I want you to know that there's no silver bullet, there's no one good thing to do on Knockdown. We're going to go through like 8 universal options most characters have. Some characters only have 7 of them. And we're going to see, and we're going to talk about when they can be used. And we're just going to, and I want you to think about next time you get into a knockdown situation and you used the wrong option and you got punished and got knocked down again into another knockdown situation. I want you to think what you did, what he did, and I want you to think what would have been the right option in according to what he did, because it's all a guessing game. This is rock paper scissors, but advanced with multiple options, and your opponent might have more options than you have options, and that's just the way it is. It is, what is it from? What's the code for Big Bang Theory? Like rock paper scissors lizard Spock. Is that the thing? It's basically that. It's extended rock paper scissors we're about to talk about here. So for you to have the best chance in this rock paper scissors game, I'm gonna tell you all the rock paper scissors, I guess we can say. So let's just get started on this. So that's 8 universal options you can use on Knockdown. Urien has some more options, and we're gonna get into that later, what they are and how you can use those. But here to start with, there's 8 universal options. Some characters only have 7 of them, but most characters have 8. So let's just go through them. Let's go. I have kind of like 4 of them is active, I want to say, and 4 of them is passive, I want to say. The active ones is jab, wake up, light button, 3-framer, as one should say, wake up 3-framer. Urien doesn't have a 3-framer, we only have a 4-framer, so it's a wake up 4-framer, which minimizes what you can actually do with it. Some characters like to wake up with the 3-framer to be able to interrupt the opponent if they want to test if the opponent is doing a airtight melee, if they are mistiming the melees and such. And Urien can't really do that because he only has a 4-framer. I like to mostly use my this jab or cross light kick to interrupt when I see they are doing something that isn't real, as we want to say in fighting games. A setup isn't real, and that's when I wanted to use. Is when I want to use this the most. And what is not real? Just quickly, if sometimes on Urien, on block, I like to do this and then dash forward. That isn't real pressure. The pressure ends after the crouch medium punch. Then I can do some options, but all of them can be reacted to and interrupted correctly. But it's hard for the opponent to keep being on his toes and react accordingly. But if I saw a dash forward, that isn't real pressure, and it's for me to keep my pressure up and push him closer to the corner. But it's a risk because it can be interrupted, and that's when I wanted to use the jab option. I'm not going to go this much in depth with all of the 8 options. This is just here in the start. Then we have, of course, EX reversal. EX reversal, not an option every character have, and some characters have better EX reversals than others. Urien's, for instance, isn't the greatest, and we're going to get into later why, as I'm talking more about Urien specific things, but it's an option you can use to get the opponents off you. I think everybody knows how to use an EX reversal. But yeah, Urien's isn't the greatest. It isn't as good as Ryu's, Ken's, or Karin's, or Kami's. It is slower, so it can be baited out and such. We're going to talk a bit more about it later. So, then we have Throw, Wake Up Throw. High risk, low reward, but can need to be used sometimes against some characters. When you are 100% sure they're gonna throw. you can tech and you're back to neutral. And that's of course a very important thing to be able to do. But of course, you can be shimmied and you're gonna take a massive amount of damage for guessing wrong on the throw, and you don't really get any damage from it, or don't really get any to change turn. You just get back to neutral of it. So that is that. Then of course the last one is V-reversal. V-reversal is an option that some characters like to use a lot. Urien players, we don't really have that luxury for some reasons. One, the V-reversal in and of itself is bad. It's a trash V-reversal. It gives you some space, but you can't really use that space to anything. You can't, like, I'm pretty sure if you hit the V-reversal and you dash forward, you are not plus. So you can't really press a button afterwards either, and you are just in your opponent's face, which isn't like the best place to be when you're not plus. So it's not really a good V-reversal, and the reason for this is, as I would guess with Capcom, is because Urians don't really want to use the V-reversal because we want the V-trigger as fast as possible, especially if you're using V-trigger 1. It's a bit different with V-trigger 2, but with V-trigger 1, we would prefer not to use V-bar, because the faster we can get V-trigger, the better of a chance we have to win the round, because V-trigger is such a good comeback tool. So if we use a bar on V-reversals, we can do it, but then we might only have 10 or 15% left HP left, and the problem with that is that if you only have 10 or 15% left, if they do one EXTP, we might be dead. So it puts more stress on us in our one mix-up guess we have to do to be able to win the round. So it's better to have a bit more leeway and have a bit more HP to work with. So that's why we don't really want to use it. At one time, I would say if you're using V-trigger 1 and you can use V-reversal, and it's a good option to use, is if you have a like 80%, 90% life left, your opponent is down 10, 15%, and he is using his V-trigger, you know, it's a last dish effort to be able to win the round. Use the V-reversal if you have a bar to get them off you. That is like a very good time to use, because you waste that bar, you still have 80% life left, maybe a bit of like gray health, and if your opponent is 10% life left and you have 80% or 90% life left, you probably won neutral up until this point, so you should be able to win neutral one more time to be able to get the round. So that is the active options. Now for the passive options, and the first one, the one near and dear to my heart, probably the best one of them, down back block. As I just mentioned before, Urien's pressure kinda ends after stand media punch, crouch media punch. It's very much the case with a lot of characters. It is this way. So you can kind of wait out the safe pressure, wait for them to do some unsafe pressure, and you can interrupt it. You can get out of it somehow, in some different ways, depending on what characters you're against. Again, this is going to be a very broad video because I can't really go into detail on like in like I can't mention like against Rio you should do this and this. This would be an insane long video. Anyway, sorry, rambling a bit there. So yeah, down back block. Wait out the opponent until they do something unsafe and punish it. That is, you can do that with most characters in this game. It is a very good option in my opinion. Some characters it is harder to do against. Sorry, but most of the characters it's a good option. Then we have backdash. Backdash, not as good as Street Fighter 4 because you get counter hit now if they are interrupted. But if they do light attacks, sorry, that's a small bug. If they do light attacks, and you get into the flip out state, as I want to call it, it's actually a good situation to be in because most people they register, they do a hit, and they continue with the second hit. And because you're in the flip out state, you won't get hit by it, and you can kind of whiff punish, pseudo interrupt the rest of the string, and now you're on offense. So it's not the worst thing to get in a flip out state. Of course, it also beats pros, and can that way be good. But if we look at Urien's backdash, it has a long range, you get far back, but it's pretty slow. It's a pretty slow backdash. I like to use it more when I'm standing, you know, to get some space. You know, you can get far back really quickly because of how far you backdash is, but it's pretty damn slow. So it's not so good to use on wake up. But again, it's an option. You can use it. I'm not saying because this is not the best option, you shouldn't use it. I'm just wanting to make sure you have in mind that it's not like It's not a silver bullet. It's not like you can use this multiple times on wake up and not get punished for it. Then we have wake up jump, mostly back jump to get out of pressure. This is great against grapplers, great against characters that like to throw a lot. You know, even against some setups, you can just jump out of it. Again, Urien's jump very floaty. You don't go too far back. Yeah, I actually think you backdash as far as you jump back, almost like it's. So like some characters, some grapplers can do some pretty safe pressure, and if you jump, by somehow you still jump out of it, they can react and punish accordingly. So it's a dangerous option for Urien, but it can be used in some situations. What was it? And of course, if you get hit as you're trying to do the jump, you go into the flip out state, which I just talked about isn't the worst thing to be in. It creates a scramble situation to get into the flip state. And as Uriens thrive, we should be able to thrive in scramble situations. That's like one of the things Urien players should be good at, because we can create so many of them from so many things we can do. And that is 7 of the options. Which one am I missing? It's always the last one that's the toughest to remember. Backdash. What is the 4 passive ones? It is block, backdash, back jump, and come on, walk back. Classically walk back. There we go. My brain. Urien's walk speed. Let's talk a bit about this. Some characters like to use walk back, just basically just holding upwards, backwards, so they will start walking backwards. That was a weird sentence. But some characters like to use this. Karen is one of them. Cammy can like to use it because they can just kind of walk out of pressure, and if they decide to like do some meaty buttons, you kind of block them. So you can just kind of walk out of the pressure by stand blocking. Your hitbox also gets smaller by stand blocking than crouch blocking. So, but Urien doesn't really have that luxury. If you look at like the walk back speed, it's not too fast. It's not the slowest in the game, I'll give you that, but it's not too fast either. So we can't really just walk back out of some pressure as other characters can. Walk forward speed, really good. Walk backwards, not as good. So that is the 8 options. There is universal options. There is again, as I said through this whole thing, you might have noticed a lot of them. I said they weren't too great, and that's just the fact of Urien. Urien is really strong defensively on the ground when he's standing upwards. You know, he's very good at defending. He has very far-reaching buttons, good anti-airs, all that stuff. He's very good on offense. Great dash forward, great jump forward, EX knee pressure, great offensive plus buttons. Very good in that respect. But Urien knockdown is tough. This is where Urien have a really hard time. That is just the fact of the game. And that's okay. We can't have a character that's good at everything. That doesn't mean he can't do it. That doesn't mean that if you get knocked down, it's over. You just have to think carefully about what option you want to use. And you have, when you are using this, remember it's rock, paper, scissors. So it's important you change up your options. It's a dance. You need to. Your opponent is trying to understand what you're doing while you're trying to understand what he's doing. So change up your options to be able to have a more broad defense where he can't really figure out what you want to do on wake up. The harder you are to read on wake up, the harder it is for the opponent to actually figure out what he wants to do, and he might start just doing the same thing because he can't really understand what you're doing, and that's when you can counter that one thing. So like, it's a dance. This is all a dance. There isn't one silver bullet, as I think is a software engineering term. There isn't one choice that beats them all. But that is just the point of this. I want you guys to understand. So that is the universal options. And also just a quick fact to this, like, this is also like, it's all mind games. It's all like, there's this famous old thing with Street Fighter 4 where the first knockdown situation you'd be in, you'd do your reversal attack, your EXDP, or back then it was just DPs, just to show you had the option, just to show that you weren't scared of using it. So if in the first knockdown you do it, block or not, you show you're not scared of doing it, which makes your opponent scared. Okay, is he going to do the next time? You know, it's all like mind games like that. Like some opponents would be messed up because you did it the first time. So the whole 2 out of 3 they were scared of your EX reversal. You know, players like Kazunoko that has built this reputation of making up EX reversal in a game where it's very hard but it's very punishable. People are still scared of his wake up because of it. It's just part of it. It's all mind games in effect. Anyway, that's what I wanted to mention. That is the universal options. And as I said, Urien's universal options aren't the greatest. It's okay. It's not like there's one character that has good universal wake up options. All of them, Akuma, Kami, but it's okay. We, on the other hand, have our specific wake up options. We have some options other characters don't really have. And one of those, I saw Nemo use it last week a few times at Combo Breaker. I think I also saw Doga use it at D-League. Is Wake Up, EX Shoulder. With V-Skill on, of course. Because of how fast it is, because of how there's one armor ups up, it is actually a legit option. So let's just run through, just so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. I want to show you guys. I want to show you guys how it looks like. And thankfully we're prepared from home. Oh, real too fast, too furious. Oh. Oops. There we go. And with that, I just remembered that's the thing I didn't even think about talking about, but I wanted to talk about. So as you can see, you can armor through like Ryu doing a light button, even medium button or such. Like the slower the button, the easier it is to armor through. Unless it's frame perfect, he does his meeting. With that, there's also a thing I didn't actually think about. Actually, we're gonna set him to do it again. Apologies. So the thing I want to talk about before we do it, I don't think a lot of people actually understand you can do this, and it is that you can actually do wake up options by pressing buttons on your stick. If you press light punch and medium punch, I think just 2 punch buttons, 2 kick punch. If you press 2 punch buttons, you do quick get up. If you press 2 kick buttons, you do the back get up. So of course, when you are underground knockdown situation, you also have to use this fact that you also have these different wake up options. You know, you have delayed, where you just stay on the ground. You have backwards, which you can do by pressing back, and you have quick get up. If you keep changing this up to, your opponent is gonna have a hard time understanding your wake up. This is also part of doing the wake up thing. It's actually good I remember this, but I think a lot of people don't know is you can actually do quick get up by doing the 2 punches, delayed by doing kicks. This is very good when you're playing a charge character because it means I can hold downwards and do the quick get up by pressing buttons. So I don't have to do some kind of like you see, that's way harder because now I have to let go of charge and then do charge, which is very weird. So that's of course something you can do as a charge character that is very good to use. I don't actually know how many people actually know this. I don't think a lot of people actually know about this. So like, if this is new to you and you just learned about this for the first time, please write a comment below. I'm actually curious about this because I think this is one thing a lot of people don't really understand they can do. Anyway, that's just a small thing, and you know, I showed you guys the one option with V-Skill, EX Shoulder. Of course, it's an option that takes a lot of resources. You need to first have a V-Skill on, you need to not do charge moves, you need to have bar for EX meter. But of course, it's a good option because you can convert it into like an Aegis Reflector or something like that. So in that way, it's also a very good option. Anyway, so this was the universal option as one of Urien's second options. Now it's going to be easier for me to talk about the last 2 things I want to talk about from a different perspective. So we're just going to quickly change side. So I'm playing the Ryu and we have a Urien dummy. So just give me a second here, guys, and do a quick transition now. Okay, we are back here. Now you see I'm the Ryu and we have the Urien dummy here. And the reason I wanted to change it is because it's easy to talk about these last 2 things when you have like the bot doing the wake up options. So what I want to show here, first of all, is another option that is Urien specific, that only Urien really have. That is a good wake up option. As I talked about, Urien's back jump and Urien's back dash are very slow and aren't really the best. So instead, Urien players figured out that we can do light punch headbutt on wake up to be able to avoid the same things and get into the same situations. And with that, I mean we can counter throws, put ourselves in a plus situation because we hit them out of throw, and if they were to do a light button, which a lot of people are inclined to do against Urien, I can get into that at the end of this video and why that. If they do a light button, they are gonna get into the flip state, which is not a bad thing to get in, and yeah, and it's hard to get a frame perfect meaty, so it meaties you while it counter hits you while you're still standing. But of course, it is possible, but it's harder to do in real matches. So the light punch headbutt, we have this set on here. I see if you try to do a throw, I get hit by it. If I try to do get into the flip out state, the state I'm talking about. And if I would react to a counter hit right there, I get the hit, so I'll try to do and I'll probably get whiff punished. Or of course, this isn't a silver bullet, as I've been talking about. Like, it's not like if they try to block or something, they get into a -2 and you're kind of up and standing, and it's better because it's actually also really easy to counter this. Just like very, very easy to do. So it's not as simple. They just have to crouch to be able to counter it. But it also has some other properties in it, that it also can high profile, I guess it would be. They low profile, you high profile. Some specific moves. Some characters like to wake up, crush medium kicks or sweeps even. We saw that Dokura versus Mina RD at Common Rare. And you'll be able to avoid that with the light punch headbutt. Even cross light kicks, but those can punish the headbutt too. But as you can see, like if I do, I get cross. So like the reason, a place where people would do this is if they are trying to like, shimmy and they go backwards, like again, and they can option select it. I think you'll block that actually. But yeah, as you can see, it also has this high profile kind of thing to it. I doubt you'll see that a lot on Wake Up. It happens more often than I think it would actually have happened, but it happens, and it's something we can think about. Anyway, so that is the one option, a Urien specific option. As I told you, Urien has these two kind of Urien specific things where he can use V-skill armor on Wake Up. I showed it with EX shoulder because that's like the best options to use with it, but of course you can use headbutts too and such. And he has this just Wake Up headbutt thing. Now, I've been talking about why people like to wake up lights against Urien, and the reason is very simple. It's because of the EX headbutt. EX headbutt is a slow EX reversal. So it can be baited out and even like option selected kinda. So what we are gonna do here is we're gonna dash forward, and you can see I do a jab, and it baits out the EXDP. So, but what if I do a light button? You probably say, will it interrupt the light kick? As you can see, I get a counter hit here. So even if you're a real player, you can probably do something like this. Like you can see the jab, like that probably combos. I don't know. I'm not a real player, but yeah, as you can see, it's just a simple option select that it's very punishing for Urien players. So that is the reason people like to do lights against Urien on his Wake Up. It's because they're scared of the EX headbutt. So if your opponent is mindful of your meter and they know they're in that kind of situation, they might go for more lights on your Wake Up, which is not a bad thing, because if they go for lights, it's not really they don't get that many plus frames on it, so it's easy to get out of the pressure. But of course, the reversal still works if you have an opponent that really likes to do like medium. Come on, do medium punch. There we go. So it still works synchronously. You just have to commit a bit more to your EX headbutt. I'm not saying it's a bad option. You just have to be more committed to it. That you have to know that this guy is gonna press like his crush counter button, or like, yeah, do something like, I don't know what the Rios do on Wake Up, like something like that. But yeah, so it's just you have to be a bit more committed and understand that if they do like a medium punch button or heavier, you can still hit them. But if they do light buttons, it can easily like be option select baited into like what's a real punish? I don't freaking know. Not a real player, but I just wanted to show these things. Like you have to keep in mind, like Urien has a lot of, like he has all the universal options. He has all the universal options plus a bit more. He has like 10. Yeah, I actually don't want to say it like that, because you might actually have an idea of some other Wake Up options. Like, and we talked about Wake Up Aegis Reflector. which is also a valid thing to do at times. I think I talk about it in my Aegis Perfector video, so I'm not really gonna talk about it here. But like, there's more options to this. Don't think this is the only options there is. Please explore the game. Tell me if there's more options you can do on Urien's Wake Up. It's fine. This is just like a core, the universal aid, plus a bit more you can use on your Wake Up now. I want you to think about how you can use these options next time you get in a knockdown situation. What option would be best for you to use? Mix it up. Don't use the same 3 options all the time. Don't use the same 4 or 1 option all the time. Use all 8 options if you can. Change it up. It will keep your opponent more guessing on your Wake Up. They'll be more confused about what you want to do, and that's how you win a game sometimes. If you aren't too good at winning the neutral, you can still win a game by taking away that turn, as some people used to say, when they are supposed to be in a favorable knockdown situation, by having a good guessing game, at being good at rock paper scissors, basically. So this is what I wanted to talk about with this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry this video got pretty damn long, but it's just because it's a very broad subject. It's Street Fighter defense, and it's a very big subject, and I don't even think I can cover it all in, like, yeah. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys stuck it out and listened to all of this. I hope you guys learned something. I'm really interested to see how many of you guys actually knew about the get up with like medium punches and kicks, because I don't think a lot of people actually know about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope you learned something. Give the video a like if you liked it. Write a comment below if there's something you think that's like you think you could do on Wake Up. Get like all that good stuff. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos. I try to do these weekly. This one got a bit delayed because it was very hard to record this video. It's very hot in Denmark right now, and I tried. Yeah, doesn't matter. It's out now and it's good and I like it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you appreciate the video. See you guys next time.